Hello, everyone. This is Howard Fox, and welcome back for another episode of the Outdoor Adventure Series podcast, where we celebrate individuals and families, businesses, and organizations that seek out and promote the exploration, stewardship, conservation, access, and enjoyment of the outdoors. Terry Mark is our guest today. Terry is the Director of Communications and Public Relations for Visit Elkhart County. Terry, it's a pleasure to have you on the podcast. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here, Howard.
Fantastic. Now, for our listeners, where is Elkhart County?
Well, Elkhart County is in northern Indiana. We're right at the border with Michigan. We are a couple hours east of Chicago. We're right along the Interstate 80, Interstate 90 corridor.
Okay. Now, in the spirit of full disclosure, I lived in Chicago for quite a while, from about 1990 to on and off to about 2020 when I moved to Las Vegas. And I never visited Elkhart County. And I'm looking as I'm prepping for this show, I'm thinking, why didn't I get in my car and just drive for the weekend? It's such a fascinating place and lots of exciting things going on in Elkhart County.
There is. And so you might have been alone because we do get many visitors from the Chicago and the Chicago suburbs. So you might have been one of the few that didn't make it to Elkhart County while they were here.
I, I I'm telling you, I have to, as I start making it back home, I now have to visit Elkhart. I have to visit even Galena, Illinois. I did a podcast with them a few weeks back, and it's like my mind was just like in the borders of Chicago, which is a bad thing. How long have you been the Director of Communications and Public Relations for Visit Elkhart County?
I've been in this role for about 9 years, but I'm a lifelong resident of Elkhart County. I grew up here, went to high school, went away to college, but this is really my home in every
Okay,
sense of the word.
okay. Now, if you'd like to disclose, where did you go to college?
I went to Indiana University, go Hoosiers.
Okay. All right. Now, what did you study at Indiana University?
I studied business,
Okay.
so that was a long time ago. Sometimes some of those lessons come back to me, and sometimes I look back and wonder, like, that feels like a lifetime ago.
Okay. How did you end up in the role of Director of Communications and Public Relations?
Well, after college, I worked. Actually, my first job out of college was actually as a journalist. I worked for the local newspaper here,
Hmm.
the Elkhart Truth, and it was a great experience for me. You take a local kid and then give him a job that requires them to learn even more about where the communities that are in Elkhart County and meet the people, and you develop an even greater appreciation for this area. But then when it was time for a career change, I found that doing destination marketing and promotion was actually a perfect fit because I can tell stories about Elkhart County, and they're all positive, happy stories about people who enjoy life here or want to have fun and the arts and the culture.
Okay. Now, you had mentioned you're kind of like in the upper part of Indiana, but 2 hours from Chicago, a couple hours from Detroit. By the way, I just did an episode just up the road in Kalamazoo, so I feel like there's a lot going on in this area of the universe in the United States, and not too far from Indiana. So you're like in the center of things. As you have visitors coming in to the county, what are the best ways to experience Elkhart County? And what are the highlights that people are gonna maybe be surprised that they're gonna see?
Well, usually starting point is a audio driving tour that we have called the Heritage Trail. It's available in physical media in the form of CDs or a flash drive, but you can also download it from our website or also find it on some streaming audio platforms. But it
Mhm.
provides a kind of an entertaining 90-mile tour of Elkhart County. and it gives you the turn by turn directions too, but also shares a lot of the folklore and the history and some of the interesting facts. And it's designed so that as you're experience driving the Heritage Trail, if you are moved to stop somewhere for a bite to eat or to see a park, or just to do some shopping, it's very easy to just stop the audio, do enjoy the area, and then continue on your journey when you're ready.
Okay. Now, I recall in researching on the website and being able to take advantage of the show notes, which thank you again for completing those. You spoke about the commitment to trail development. Is the trail development this heritage trail, or are there other definitions for this trail?
So the Heritage Trail is just one component, and really, the Pumpkin Vine Nature Trail in Elkhart County is really the shining example of how our community has collaborated and worked together to identify an amenity and a public asset that all of our communities enjoy. And it's really activated this desire to develop more trails within Elkhart County and to appreciate what the benefits, both physical and emotional and economic benefits that trail development can have. That started, I believe, in the mid 1980s when some visionary leaders, people who were bicyclists and interested in trail development, saw the opportunity to convert a old rail bed into what it is today.
You know, the old rail beds, and I love that. I've familiar with the organization Rails to Trails. In fact,
Mhm.
their editorial director, Amy Cap, is the president of the Outdoor Writers Association of America this year, which I am also a member of. And without I without looking at the map on my end, is this Pumpkin Vine Nature Trail, does it connect in some way to the Great American Rail Trail, or is it standalone?
I believe it stands alone, although there are so many other trails that are not too far away, both in Indiana and Michigan, that I'm, I'm pretty sure it would be not too difficult to make that connection.
Okay. I love the fact that it's a reuse of the rail bed, because that's like the perfect way to reuse the land and get people out and exploring, whether you're biking, walking, running, and so that trail sounds very exciting. Uh, how often do you get out there yourself and take advantage of that?
Not nearly enough, but I have spent many hours on the trail, exploring different segments, and also exploring the different ways for me to bike to that trail. Like I said, there are other trails, and they continue to be built. And so, only in the last few years has it been possible for someone in Elkhart, where I live, to take, find a trail, get to the trailhead for the pumpkin vine, and then continue on my journey. You can make a pretty good loop of some of our major cities and towns just on trail alone.
I love that. I love that. Now, in addition to the Heritage Trail, the Pumpkin Vine Nature Trail, what other outdoor activities can visitors to Elkhart County anticipate experiencing?
So I think one of the things I love people to experience in Elkhart County is our quilt gardens, which we tell people it's quilt gardens along the Heritage Trail. It's open every year from May 30th to September 15th. And what it is these large gardens. The smallest is 800 square feet, and the largest is, I believe, something like 2,500, 2,600 square feet. But these are gardens located in our cities and towns that are planted in different quilt patterns every year. So each site is in a downtown or near a business or at an attraction, and they're completely free, open all day for visitors to explore. There's signage that kind of explains a little bit about the quilt pattern that people see and the flowers that are used, but it really connects not only our physically our communities by all being along the heritage trail, but also it connects our substantial quilting and fabric art heritage, and then of course, people who doesn't love flowers and love gardening. It really marries a lot of key aspects of life in Elkhart County together.
So I would imagine that the quilt gardens are a wonderful destination for photographers. Just the yeah, and also the perhaps the like the what the insects, the wildlife that would come and pay a visit. And I again, it makes me want to take a trip to the vicinity again. There's so much to offer. What Which brings a question to mind. Your typical visitor who's going to come to Elkhart County, are they coming for a day, a weekend? Is there a longer trip? What do you typically find in terms of your visitor demographics?
So the typical visitor to Elkhart County is going to stay about 1 or 2 days. I mean, it's possible to experience Elkhart County as a day trip, but especially if you're here in the summer and want to see the quilt gardens in 2025, we will have 17 locations, and they're, like I said, all along the Heritage Trail. And people often ask us, how long does it take you to drive the Heritage Trail? And what we tell people is that if you didn't stop, if all you did was follow the driving directions and did do anything, it would take you about 3 hours. Now, of
Okay.
course, people need to eat, people want to shop. You have lots of different choices, which is kind of the beauty of the Heritage Trail. And so to me, that's easily 2 days.
Excellent. Excellent. And as so far as these getaways, are these families? Are they retired couples? And where do you also find them? How far away are people coming in for this visit?
So most commonly, yeah, we're going to see like either retired or empty nester couples. So couples who are in their 40s, 50s, 60s, or above. But we do have families. We often have bus groups, in particular, for those who travel by motor coach in group tours. The quilt gardens are a big hit because they're usually it's very spacious around all the gardens. There's plenty of time for people to leisurely stroll, take pictures, as you mentioned. Um, but there's also some Amish country experiences. Two of our communities are very significantly influenced by the Amish communities who live in and around
Mhm.
uh, the cities of Napanee and Middlebury. And so between experiencing the kind of the tranquil, rural lifestyle of the Amish, and then uh, getting a little more urban in Elkhart and Goshen, that is really presents a well-rounded trip and a lot of culture for people to immerse themselves in.
Excellent. I was going to ask you about the Amish culture because this photo, by the way, it's from your website, so thank you
Right.
very much. Uh, Behind me, which my big 6'1" frame is blocking, is a horse and buggy that's with the written ridden by the one of the Amish. So I thought that would look good for the background there. As I it was investigating again the interview today with you, Terry, I had a discovery call for another podcast I'm going to do later in the week, and the individual was sharing not only was her husband born and raised in Elkhart, but this individual was very much into the RV lifestyle.
Hmm.
And I learned as I'm doing the research Elkhart County's legacy is not only recreational vehicles, but also band instruments. Can you share a little bit more about
Yeah, definitely. So, like you said, aside from Amish country, really the other aspect that really gets at the heart of what people in Elkhart County are like is that we are makers at heart. Throughout our history, whether it's been band instruments, which is around turn of the 20th century, to today, as well as our recreational vehicle industry, which developed a little bit later, like 19, starting around the 1930s, 40s, 50s, is really the birth of the RV. Many of our residents have been engaged in that high quality, craftsman-like practice, whether it's making horns, band instrument factories, or then RVs. So and that is extended to other aspects, to our artisan creating, painting, pottery, and so on. Band instruments were prevalent in the 20th century because there were some innovators from Elkhart who developed products that then became extremely popular with anyone who played a trumpet or saxophone or what have you. So a lot of the manufacturing, some of the major players in the industry were based in and around Elkhart, and that industry has evolved. There are still major band instrument companies here in Elkhart, but it's not it is not at its peak as it once was. And fortunately, the recreational vehicle industry developed in some ways to take its place as people again innovate, developed new amenities and new ways to construct RVs, to take them from being the camper being the Class A motorhome, the largest of its kind. There are just endless ways to basically construct what is essentially a tiny house on wheels, and so that's a major part of our history, and you can explore that at the RV Hall of Fame and Museum. My favorite part of that is just seeing how RVs have evolved from the early days, the little campers of the 30s, 40s, and 50s to the some of the behemoths of today, but also the innovators who have figured out how to make modern RVs, but in a lightweight, compact manner. It's
it? I love it.
fascinating to see.
I love it. I spend many an hour looking at YouTube videos because I do have this desire to get out of the four walls and sitting at a desk and getting out into the RV and having a digital nomad lifestyle. So that I may have to another reason to visit Elkhart, Terry. You're making a very compelling argument whether you have realized it or not. I have a request, if you wouldn't mind, if you would indulge us with a tour of your website, and I would love just kind of take us through some of the high level. And by the way, I do have to share food and coffee are very important parts of my life. So please keep that in mind as you kind of take us on a tour of the website.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to share my screen, the miracle of technology. There we go. Okay. So we should be seeing the website.
All right. Yes. So, just to take you, give you a quick high level view, across the top, as you'll see, you have several different menu options under events. If you just it breaks that down into some of the major events that we have throughout
Okay.
Elkhart County in the year. Elkhart Uh, Goshen First Fridays is a monthly festival in downtown Goshen. The Elkhart County 4-H Fair is one of the largest of its kind in the country. Then there are, it's also broken down by things to do in a particular month. But if you just click on the events, what
Okay.
you'll get to is our event calendar.
Okay. Which a question that I'm curious about, would you consider Elkhart County to be a four-season destination?
I think so. I think it's particularly summer and fall, and then in the wintertime, we have some wonderful festivals and events and great shopping for people who already complete their shopping list. And
Okay.
so I think of Elkhart County as a four season destination. I know in wintertime, people tend to want to hunker down,
Hmm.
but I find something to do any time of the year here. I love hiking, and so the parks are always open for hiking.
Okay.
You're scrolling the events calendar, so it gives you a comprehensive list of the arts and cultural events happening.
Mm.
There are ways to filter that on that left hand side. But if you're interested in a particular community or a type of event, say you're interested in just what's happening in downtown Goshen, so you
Okay.
can just break it down that way. If you're planning ahead and looking for something that's happening in March, you could select that date range there, and you can just search, select the dates that you're interested in, and
Okay.
find things that way.
Okay. Very good. And I love it. So there's a date range. Okay. So maybe we're not just there yet, but okay. So if I
Right,
were to click on it, I would find if the site has been updated, I would find uh
right, right,
opportunities here. Okay. Very
right.
good. Very good.
So
Um
then, if you go back to the, oh yeah, sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
If you go back to the top, that's those all those same menu options exist on all of our pages.
Okay.
Things to do kind of breaks things down. You can learn about the Heritage Trail, shopping, various attractions such as the Quilt Gardens and RV Museum, outdoors and recreation that has its own section
Okay.
uh, where you can explore different aspects. Kayaking, canoeing are very popular in the summer.
Okay. Yeah, we are the Outdoor Adventure Series podcast. So I have to have, we did talk about biking. So now we can talk about kayaking and canoeing. I have to cover those bases. If you know what I mean, Terry. All
Yeah.
right. I love it. Okay. Now, is there any fishing in the area? Just curious.
Yes. Yeah, there is. So this area is Elkhart County is blessed with having two rivers.
Okay.
The St. Joseph River is the larger of the two, and
Okay.
that eventually, after going through Elkhart County, and it will wind its way and end up spilling into Lake Michigan.
Okay.
And the Elkhart River and Little Elkhart River are smaller rivers, but they feed into each other and then eventually into the St. Joseph River. And all
Okay.
along those banks and then some of the creeks are some tremendous fishing opportunities. There are a couple streams.
Hmm.
I believe it's the Little Elkhart and the Cobus Creek, where fisheries. Those are cold water trout streams,
Okay.
which um, I think are highly sought after and very desirable to those who are interested in that. I have
Sure.
to confess, I'm not, it's, I've not done much fishing, so I don't know a whole lot about it. But I
Hey,
also know that
Terry, I only learned how to fish this past year. Okay. And
okay,
I think I'm a little older than you are. So,
so it's
you
never
know,
too late, right? Is that what
never
you're
too
saying?
late. Let me tell,
All
and by
right,
the way, it was fun. I caught three, two brown and a rainbow trout. So you got a river there. Go check it out.
yeah,
Uh,
yep.
but I love this. And I did see, farmer's market. I love farmer's markets, Heritage Trail. We've got the park. We're not, oh, the river walk. That's gotta be cool. And the Wellfield Botanic Gardens. I'm a big photographer, so I love flowers, insect, birds, and, I think I would have a great time here. This is great.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Wellfield Botanic Gardens is actually one of my maybe I shouldn't have favorites, but
I
because
think
I
you have to have
you
a
know,
favorite or 2.
but Wellfield is a personal favorite
Okay,
of mine.
okay,
Uh,
alright. Something near and dear to my heart. So, where if let's imagine you've got friends and family coming in to see you for a weekend, doesn't matter what weekend, where are you gonna take them to, first to let's get them a meal because they've been driving for a couple hours. They need some nourishment. Where are you going to take them?
Well, I'm quite personally, I'm quite proud of the craft breweries that have flourished in Elkhart County.
Okay.
Each community, I think, has its own craft brewery. Elkhart has two, and
Okay.
the others have one each, and they all have their own character and vibe.
Okay.
Uh, s- they all have excellent beers. I misspoke. Elkhart has three craft breweries.
Okay.
So they're all very different. So I would
Okay.
take them to one of them. Yakida in Elkhart has
Okay.
wonderful beer and pizza and sandwiches.
I love
Uh,
it.
Goshen Brewing Company in Goshen is really well situated. They're in downtown, but they're right along the Millrace Canal. So it's an old hydraulic canal that's now
Mm.
been water still flows into it, but now it's really developed into more of an attraction than a functioning canal. And so
Gotcha.
you get people who will bike or walk or jog along the Millrace Canal from
Okay.
their house a couple miles away in Goshen, and they'll make the trek up to Goshen Brewing and enjoy the downtown there, and maybe a Wednesday evening concert in the summers or Sunday evening concert in the summer. So it's just a very convivial atmosphere. And then
Okay.
I love pie, so you can't come to Elkhart County without getting pie or some other baked treats from.
That's the downside of the farmer's market. They always have the best pies.
Right, and you have to go to, especially if you're interested in Amish style cooking, Das Dutchman, Essenhaus,
Mhm.
or Blue Gate in neighboring Shipshewana have excellent, all the favorites you can imagine: fried chicken, roast beef, mashed potatoes,
Oh my god.
noodles, dressing. Yeah, but
Uh,
you can make up for it by saying that you'll just bike 15, 20 miles on the pumpkin vine.
there you
Uh,
go.
and
There
you can
you go.
justify your, p peanut butter cream pie.
Okay. Is that your favorite?
Yeah, I'd say peanut butter pie, that is one that's hard for me because I love fruit pies, so
Right.
peach pie, blueberry pie, uh, cherry pie are also favorites. Send me in front of a pie buffet, and I'll see you in a few hours.
You're lucky to be it's lucky that you're so young, but, yeah, I have to, be very diligent about that old sugar, but I do see a topic that's near and dear to my heart. You have a couple roasters. You have a roaster here. Uh,
Oh, yes. So, we have some great coffee shops. Main Street Roasters in Ebony roasts their own beans. I think,
nice.
the Electric Brew in Elkhart Goshen also roasts their own beans. But each community in our area is blessed with a fabulous coffee shop, which is
Mhm.
a great place to hang out for a couple of hours, sipping some coffee, watching life go by. That's always a good afternoon for me.
I I could sit at a on a park bench in a town square with a cup of coffee and a hat to protect my head just in case there is sun outside, and I
Right,
could be happy for hours just sitting and taking in the community, like the heart of the community, the soul of the community.
right.
I love it. Excellent. Anything else you want to, draw our attention to before we head back?
So you just hovered there on plan, so that will help you get here, but also it will also help you with things you just need to know while you're here, whether there are tours or where to get more information, where to get maybe some deals, some discounts, and our weather. If you're interested in a particular community, you can hover over cities and towns, and then
Mhm.
from there access information specific to each of our wonderful communities.
Okay. I love it. Definitely a lot to offer here, and it just as I was chatting, on this call for where we're we were talking about, this individual, Carrie Ann, was chatting about there's just so much to see in our country, and I think we kinda take our community for we can take our community for granted, But if we just go out and look, there is a lot to offer, and it and one thing I have noticed as we're doing this podcast series, all of these communities, and Elkhart is County is no different. There's so much to offer, and just in the towns, the things to do, the services, and just the experiences that are to be had. So
Mhm.
I love it. I love it. Well, I think we're going to head back to our episode. Thank you for taking us on a quick tour here. This was great.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And as as you kind of look back in your role in communications, public relations, being a former journalist, as you kind of look back, what has been what I would call your aha moment? Because I find everybody who's in this business of destination marketing, these are pretty special jobs, and you and I am and everybody says I love what I do, but
Mhm.
and so you kind of look back in your history and being in this industry, what's been your aha moment as you kind of look back?
Ooh, well, if I could cheat and say there are a couple. So, when I first started in this role, this would have been 2015. The ideas of placemaking and quality of place were still fairly new to this area. I mean, we've had theaters, parks, coffee shops, and all that forever, just like everyone else has. But the idea that investing in those spaces and caring about them and making sure they were as good as they could be really hadn't connected for a lot of people between that and economic prosperity and how that could really feel communities worth, economic worth. And we had an event where a speaker talked about loving where you live and loving the city that you're in because that matters to a lot of people. Things like trash pickup and roads and water water pipes, those matter, but people don't generally develop an affection for their community because they have great streets. Now we all want great streets or we want the water to come on when we turn the faucet. There's
Mhm.
not the emotional attachment comes from the great parks, the community theater that you love or your favorite restaurant. That's what creates that emotional attachment. And that's what we're about is highlighting those places for both our residents to know about and but then also for visitors to know about when they come here because I think visitors by and large want that authentic experience. They want to know where the locals eat. What do the
Mhm.
locals like? They don't they don't want to be separated from that. And so that was an aha moment. And a smaller moment was one day I was biking the pumpkin vine, and I think I'm still fairly new in the role and not really didn't connect these two halves of my life. But I was just randomly stopped, struck up a conversation with a couple, uh, and where asked them where they were from, and I think they said they were from Grand Rapids, and they had driven down for the day to ride the pumpkin vine, and that just was truly an aha moment. It's like people came here on purpose to experience what we have.
I love that. I love that. And I love that word placemaking. I have not heard it before. And now I think it's some way uh going to be a part of my lexicon. I think that will be the correct word
Right.
because we we can complain and just take our communities for granted, but if we take a step back, we can find these golden nuggets, places to visit. I mean, here in Vegas, I live in the north side of Las Vegas, and 10 miles up the road, there's the Desert National Wildlife Refuge. And I go there just to I walk the trail, sit at the bench overlooking the pond, and there's just very few people there. And it's just a nice place just to be in nature and just to calm down a little bit. And
Mhm,
Then you start listening to the birds, seeing the birds,
mhm.
and it just but we have to be willing and want to do that, I think, and small towns are no different. I mean, just looking at the photos from Elkhart County, you have the perfect community where I would love to sit out on a park bench or the porch in a house, drink coffee in the morning, or have my iced tea or adult beverage in the evening and just enjoy living in a nice community again. It's been a while.
Well, come here. Well, I mean, we talked about the seasons, but hey, come here in the summer, grab a cup of coffee at the Electric Peru in downtown Elkhart, stroll across the river to the farmer's market, maybe buy a treat, go
Yeah.
find a place to sit in the shade and watch the kayakers roll by on the Elkhart River.
There you go, there you go. I would probably say I would try to go kayaking, but last time I went on a kayak, I only made it about 15 feet before I tipped over, so
Uh,
no, that's a whole other story. This has been great, Terry. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk about, Elkhart County and the towns and everything it has to offer, and really taking us for a tour of the website. This has been, fantastic. Um, any final thoughts before we head out? Anything you'd like to share with our audience? Why Elkhart County?
I think we're constantly striving to improve ourselves too, because we realize, well, I mean, we want better for ourselves too, just like you want better for your own community. But we're all constantly thinking about how can we make what we already have, which is great, even better.
Absolutely.
So the things that we've been talking about today, in a year or 2 years, there might be like some really new things added on to that that we aren't in existence today. But people are here are thinking about it. People are planning, strategizing, and thinking about what's the next thing we can do to make our community better.
I love it. I love it. Now, if our listeners would like to learn more about you and Elkhart County, where are the best places to go?
So we toured visit elkhartcounty.com. So that is definitely the first place I would start. But if we're constantly sharing updates on our social media accounts, we're on Facebook, Instagram, and X under Experience Elkhart County.
Okay.
So check those out for the latest.
Very good. Well, we'll provide all the backlinks to the website, the social sites, and we'll even throw in links to some of the destinations that you highlighted for us. Terry, it's been a pleasure to have you on the podcast. I really appreciate you and grateful to you for responding to our inquiry. And it's been great to learn more about the community. And it's now on my list because I still can't believe you were so close when I was in Chicago, so I'm gonna have to take care of that. But yeah, thank you for spending time with us today.
You're welcome. It's a lot of fun. This is one of my favorite parts of my job is talking about my home.
Very good. I love it. Well, listen, stay on the line. We're gonna do a quick close, and you and I can have a final chat, okay?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, folks, hope you enjoyed today's episode with Terry Mark, Director of Communications and Public Relations for Visit Elkhart County. I truly, folks, cannot believe I lived in Chicago for nearly 30 years. Now I'm aging myself, and I made so many trips between Chicago back to my hometown in Detroit, and who knew just a couple miles south was this wonderful destination. So for me, I'm going to have to take care of that because this sounds like a phenomenal place. Just the experiences. I want to see that quilt garden and, of course, experience some of that wonderful Midwestern food, especially with the Amish influence. Now, we're going to share with you in our show notes on the Outdoor Adventure Series website all of the links that Terry just mentioned, the website visit Elkhart County, as well as Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn social sites. Terry also shared a couple media links um, that really highlight some of the people and reasons why you want to come and visit this area of in Indiana. Now, as for us, you can find this episode on our website, outdooradventureseries.com. We are also on Facebook and LinkedIn, and the video of this episode, along with the tour that Terry took us of the Visit Elkhart County website, will be up on YouTube. And of course, you can listen to this episode wherever you get your podcast from. And remember, we love likes, comments, and sharing. Until next time, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, go out there, have a phenomenal day. And we look forward to having you join us on a future episode of the Outdoor Adventure Series podcast. Take care.